Okay, no, let's get into Bam Margera. Okay, so this is crazy. So Bam Margera is an interesting character because he is really representative of the early aughts and sort of the attitude of youth culture there, because he got popular for his skateboarding videos, and then that weird sort of jackass pranks where it was like in the streets just with video cameras and just white suburban kids doing crazy stuff.
CKY?
Like, yeah, a lot of that aesthetic, like the white suburban kids being bad. And like I always found him particularly annoying because like he was messing with his parents and was supposed to be this funny thing, and he just seemed like kind of an asshole. Maybe that's hindsight genius, because the thing about Bam Margera is it's a crazy existence thinking of those jackass guys. It's a group of these friends that were skateboarders, or just like some were part-time stuntmen, some were just like, I don't even know what Johnny Knoxville was, but they got together and they did this thing where they just acted like adult, like 15-year-old boys and just doing the craziest stuff, and they found fame and money from doing it. And
we all loved it. You can't deny that.
Oh yeah, no, it was hilarious. There was a crazy, like, some
I was
of the
super into it in its heyday.
Yeah. And so it's a wild lifestyle, kind of like a quasi-nihilism to just like do the craziest stuff. Who cares about any of this stuff?
Post 9/11 American nihilism. I like that.
Never forget. But the thing is that at a certain time, it's funny. It's kind of funny because they're adults, but they're like their late 20s. Then they get in their 30s. Then it's kind of funny because they even joke on the fact, like in the newer Jackasses, like, we've got to be too old for this stuff. But it's funny, like, they do things like there's still like a guy will wear a gas mask and he'll fart in it. It's like a 45-year-old Johnny Knoxville who's been in movies and has a ton of money and has kids is still like laughing his ass off from farting in this guy's gas mask and throwing up. But and so there was a sense though, like, we're still immature, but we're immature in the spirit of this thing. Obviously a lot of like doing drugs and drinking and stuff like that, but it's time to grow up, and real stuff started happening. So you have Steve-O, who was popular as he was one of the craziest ones. That's what's being crazy. It's like the toughest gangster and the toughest gang. Like, he was the craziest of the craziest guys, and he had a horrifying addiction to like even nitrous, like stuff, like those famous whippets, but just all sorts of drugs, anything you can name of. And he did a complete turnaround where he channeled it into, he does like stand up, and like he's just like a personality with a podcast or whatever he does. And it's great because, he talks recovery, he talks turning his life around. And so basically you have these guys who...
He went on Cumtown and beefed with Nick and Adam.
Oh, interesting.
He felt like he was getting pranked and stuff. It was very awkward. You should check it out.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah. It was their new show, Adam Friedland show or whatever. But
well, anyways, so you have this weird thing where it's like, okay, we got our money from this. We're not like actors or writers, so we're not going to like parlay this into anything different. So it's time to like, we're going to live our lives, and you know what? Maybe if we are like, want to get a beach house, or the kids are going to college, we'll dip in, we'll do another Jackass movie or do something like that. So then you have Bam Margera, who, like many of the other guys, struggled with addiction. And you had like his buddy Ryan Dunn, who died this horrific death, dude. He burned alive in a car. It was incredibly sad. Alcohol was involved.
I think that was what sent him spiraling.
Here's the thing.
I think he says that. He says that.
Yeah, but he also. This is why I don't like him. I feel incredibly sympathetic towards that situation, but I don't like him because he has a pattern of blaming, which I'll get into, where I describe Bam Margera as the poster boy for being the worst type of addict. The worst. Like, you talk about like addicts and alcoholics being these flawed human beings, where it's this very strange thing where people understand it's not their fault and it's affliction, yet people get very hateful of them because they do bad stuff. I can't blame them. It's like I always say, it's like, like cancer is a disease. You wouldn't blame someone for having cancer. It's like people with cancer don't break into cars and steal shit. People with cancer don't like ruin families. They don't like lose their kids or like are negligent of them. Like I talked about, like in child welfare. So like it's this weird thing where it's just like these people are suffering, so you want to have sympathy for them, but they also do a lot of bad stuff that is just like, you hate them for. And so it's hard to balance all these emotions. And so when you do it, like, you kind of have this thing where you root for them to get better and you don't want to shit on them if they're not. But Bam Margera has to be the worst example of somebody handling addiction because he still struggles with it. And he was, for a long time, he was in denial, in this crazy denial where it's just like, everybody knows it. Like, who are you? Like, are you lying to yourself? Do you believe this lie? Or just, why? Like, what are you doing, dude? And then, from that point, they were like, he had this thing where they were going to do these shows, like these new movies and stuff. And they were like, Bam, you're unreliable. We need you here for this. And also, we don't want to fuel your addiction, so we're going to drug test you. And that's the only way you're going to do this, because it was one of those things where it's like, maybe if you're struggling with alcoholism, we're not blaming you for that. But he was like not showing up. He was not doing stuff. Like, you can't be a part of this. And he was a nuisance. And and he failed that. So they kind of kicked him out of these projects. And instead of being like, oh my God, my addiction's gotten so bad that I lost even this thing I had with his friends. And again, there wasn't judgment from him. It was just the sense of like, you were just unreliable and we couldn't do anything with you. And we're not just going to give you a paycheck for doing A, nothing, and B, to fuel your addiction.
Right.
And instead of him being like, what have I done with my life? He goes, no, fuck those guys.
Yeah.
And it's been this crazy level of him blaming them and this crazy level of him going on these tangents. And then this is like next level insane. He does this song, which I don't know what any musical inclination he had, but he does this song that is, I don't know if you want to call it rap, but it's insanely auto-tuned. It's one of the most cringiest things, just on a musical level, right? It's one of the most cringiest things possible you could think of. And in this song, he takes shots at these friends that were just trying to help him, that he shared these memories with and did these things with. And not only has he burned these bridges, but he's like threatening to fight these guys who have done nothing to him. It's like, how can you channel so many bad things into one piece of art or media, or whatever you want to call it, that just... It's
the narcissism of the victim mentality.
If you were to tell me all this, I'd be like, I can't even imagine how bad that was. Yet somehow it blew my imagination out of the water.